But that brings us to our power rankings for Week 7 going into Week 8. Now that all the teams have played their Week 7 matchups, we can finally rank and criticize these teams fairly. And I am going to warn you guys up front, there is a lot of movement this week. Every team may be moving at least one or two spots. We've got a new team in the top 10. We've got a new number 1, a new number 2, a new number 3. And then just from there. So we'll start here at number 10. Our new number 10 team is going to be the San Francisco 49ers. So we are moving them back from 9 to 10 here. It's just that kind of week where everything fell apart when against Miami. They benched Jimmy Garoppolo halftime. I'm still trying to get over that. That's a huge impression, but they've been doing a good job here these last 2 weeks against the Rams and then last week against the Patriots. So they're getting it done. Their offense is looking good. We are taking them one step back because it is against the Patriots that they had a great success on. I'm not ranking the Patriots too high anymore. So we are going to keep them in the top 10. We had to shuffle it around a little bit. That's why they're moving back to number 10, back a spot. But other than that, this team is still good. One of the best teams in the league. Offensively, very gifted, no doubt. Defense very good as well. Just need to kind of string together some more wins, and we'll be looking good here. But 49ers still in the top 10. Just have to move them back one spot just to kind of make everything fit. But I mean, coming into next week definitely can compete to move up, definitely. All right, so our new number 9 team is now going to be the Baltimore Ravens. It's unfortunate they were on a bye, so you get passed up in your bye sometimes. That's how it works. But you can come back this week, make a big mark and try to move back up. It's just unfortunate they were on the bye, so we couldn't see what they have done for us lately, which is which is all I'm about here. What have you done for me lately? So. Baltimore Ravens move back from, where do we have them, 5 to 9. Just unfortunate. It's a bye week. Nothing that they could do about it. Just other teams performed very well, and we could not see the Ravens perform this week. Unfortunate. All right, number 8. All right, we had the Cardinals at 10. We are going to move them up to number 8 here. Loved what they did. You beat the Seahawks, who I had as, the number 2 team going into this week. Big fan of Russell Wilson. But this Cardinals defense, I mean, the offense was good. Kyler Murray looked fantastic. He didn't really turn the ball over. I think he had 1 interception, but we can kind of forgive that when you're throwing the ball 40-plus times. I can forgive it. The defense was looking great. I mean, these were 2 big games for the defense. Lots of turnovers. They did give up a lot of points, but that's to be expected. I mean, good teams are going to put up points. It's just what's going to happen. The one thing that is giving me a little red flag about this Cardinals team and why I don't want to move them any higher is that they still only won by 3 in overtime while picking off Russell Wilson 3 times. So, I mean, if these teams face again, Russell Wilson's not going to throw 3 interceptions, so they probably lose that next matchup. But we have to give them their credit, their respect. They won the game. That's huge. Winning the game, winning however you have to. They did it in overtime, literally last second, last play. They kicked the field goal. Well done. But I liked what I saw from the offensive side. They were still feeding DeAndre Hopkins a lot. Not great. I do want to see them get away from just only scoring because of DeAndre Hopkins. But Kyler Murray looked clean. He looked cut. He looked good. So, well done. We'll move the Cardinals up a little bit. Beating the Seahawks is a great feat, so we have to move them up a little bit here. So the Cardinals go to number 8. All right, number 7. A new team in our top 10. We had them in the top 10 for maybe the first 2 weeks, but then the interceptions and the pick sixes scared us off. But the Bucs are real deal. They're not pretenders. This was the week where we saw a lot of pretenders. I'll tell you the pretenders, they'll be probably the outside looking in, but I will kind of break down who I think the pretenders are, and just so we don't get kind of hoodwinked these next 2-3 weeks. Oh my God, that was a great performance by this team, but we know they are pretenders, so we can't put them in the top 10. We will go over that after we're done unveiling our number 1 pick. But new number 7 team is going to be the Tampa Bay Bucks. It's the real deal. Tom Brady, new system, new offense, new weapons. Definitely needed a couple weeks, especially with no OTAs, no preseason. Needed a couple of games here to get acclimated to this new, abundance of talent on his team. He's finding ways. I guess I shouldn't penalize him too much for not going to Mike Evans 100 times a game. It's just weird where I see the Cardinals, they go to their best weapon, DeAndre Hopkins, tall, fast wide receiver who will go get the ball, but Tom Brady doesn't. He's supposed to be the GOAT, and now you get AB. They should be better. I want to see this Tampa Bay team use their wide receiver weapons, because that's what makes this team so good. You've got 6'4" in speed, on the outside, and then you got, tall, big tight ends on the inside, so you've got it everywhere. I want to see him air out the ball a little bit more, kind of like what Aaron Rodgers does, not just dink and dunk down the field. But Tampa Bay's defense is very good. Their offense has got a lot of pieces. They're 5-2. They're winning now, not turning the ball over. Good signs going forward. So it's time to put the Bucs in the top 10. So yeah, we got Tampa Bay at number 7. I had to find a spot for him, folks. I had to find a spot for him here. That's why we kicked out. Who did we kick out? We kicked somebody out of the top 10. Who was it? Unfortunate. But this is what we got. Hang on. Let me see. We can go back to my Twitter. I have everything. Or no, hang on. Let's go to our website. These are fully. Here we go. We kicked the Saints out of the top 10. Spoiler alert, the Saints are no longer in our top 10. They won last week against the Panthers without their top 2 wide receivers. That's a very good sign. But I feel like I've seen this before. I've seen the Saints team for the past 3 years. They're good. They're good in the regular season. They'll have a bad game, but then Drew Brees is good, and then they throw 4 touchdowns, and they end up going like 12-4, but then they lose first round of the playoffs. It's like I've seen this before, and I'm seeing it again, and I'm trying to not fall for the same tricks that I fell for the last 3 seasons that the Saints have been doing this. So we are moving the Saints out of the top 10 for that reason. I've got to see more of them. They've tricked us so many times. Are they pretenders? In the grand scheme of things, yes. What happened these last 3 seasons, just losing in the playoffs, and they should make deep runs. Drew Brees, in my opinion, is the best quarterback of all time. So we are moving the Saints out of the top 10. It's unfortunate. They won. They probably shouldn't have, but we have to make room for the Bucs here, so I have to move them out of the top 10. I've seen it too many times before. Fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, fool me 3 times, fool me 4 times. I'm not fooling for it no more, folks, okay? Drew Brees not falling for it anymore, so we have to move him out of the top 10. All right, so Tampa Bay, number 7, our new number 6 team. We're moving them up. The Rams. They were stuck at 7 for the past 3 weeks. Had no idea what to do with them. But I loved what they did last night. I thought Nick Foles would be more productive, but their defense shut it down. Their defense forced a couple of turnovers by Mitch Trubisky, really only allowed 3 points the entire game. 7 points came because of their offense, the Rams offense turning the ball over for a fumble 6 and not their defense. So this Rams defense is very good. Their offense is still pretty good. They're solid on most days. But, definitely not one of the best offenses in the league. A little spotty, a little hit and miss here. But they've got all the proponents. They've got all the weapons. They've got the quarterback. They've got the wide receivers. And they've got the head coach that can scheme good plays. So, all of that. Their defense is rocking, doing very well. They put up 24 points against that Bears defense. Once again, very good. So, Rams going to move them up here from 7 last week to 6 here. I just think this is a solid team all around. They can win by their defense. They can win by their offense. So I like the Rams here. We'll put them at number 6. All right, new number 5 team. We are going to move the Chiefs back 1 spot. It was, again, they won this week, I get it, but they won against the Broncos. Defense did very good. Offense did very good. They put up a lot of points, and they did not give up a lot of points. So just all around, it was an easier game going against the Broncos. They've got no real talent anywhere offensively or defensively. And the Chiefs just had a field day, basically. You put up 40-plus points, that's a field day. You hold a team under 20 points, that's a field day defensively. So like what the Chiefs are doing, they seem to be a team that just kind of sometimes holds off into the fourth quarter until things start to click where it's do or die time, and then they'll go and throw the 70-yard bomb. So that gives me a little bit of a red flag, but other than that, this team is high explosive. Le'Veon Bell, his first game, pretty successful. They've got the talent. They've got the weapons. We'll put the Chiefs at number 5. Alrighty, number 4 team. No longer number 1, the Tennessee Titans. I don't want to move them back too much. I don't want to penalize them too much for losing, but we are going to have to penalize them a little bit for losing, definitely. They had the chance there to win it or to tie the game. They went for the tie, unfortunately did not go. Ryan Tannehill, he did not turn the ball over, put up 220 yards. Derrick Henry, 75 yards, touchdown. So all around this team was good. It's just their defense couldn't really get any takeaways until the second half, and they didn't always capitalize on those turnovers. It looks like they only capitalized on 1 for 3 points. That's not great. Can't fall in love with that. But overall, I love the adversity. This has been a tough 3 weeks for the Titans, having to miss a game, coming off of all that COVID nonsense, getting blasted in the media. Then they have to go and face the Bills in their makeup game, and they win it. They very well done. And then they have to face the high-flying Texans, who have just found their groove because they fired their head coach, and they went in overtime. And now they have to face the Steelers, the best team in the league, the best defense in the league. And in the first half, they got kind of hit in the mouth. They couldn't do anything offensively, gave up a lot of points defensively. Second half kind of turned it around. Only gave up 3 points, scored a lot, brought it very close. So overall, this Tennessee team is still very good. Not going to penalize them too much. Still have them over the Chiefs. Still like them better than the Chiefs, even though they lost. I mean, when you lose to one of the top teams, we're not going to drop you too much in our power rankings. Still like what this team is all about. Run first, pound the ball. Toughness, everybody's buying in. Nobody's bigger than the team. Love the head coach. Love the leadership Ryan Tannehill is just displaying. Love his talent. Love the running game. Love Derrick Henry. Just love everything about this Titans team. Defense can definitely be a little bit better. Nobody's, I don't think, is arguing that point. But from these first 7 weeks, Titans are definitely showing themselves to be one of the more consistent teams. And that's what I want to see. So we're going to move the Titans down from number 1 to number 4. Alrighty, number 3, we are going to move the Seattle Seahawks back a little bit here. We're moving them back from 2 to 3 here, just because they lost, but they were very competitive. It was still a close game. They still put up 30 points while Russell Wilson was throwing 3 interceptions. We're not going to see that game from Russell Wilson again. We're just not. He doesn't put up those interceptions like that. What we need to focus on is Tyler Lockett having 200 yards receiving. That's what we need to focus on. So offensive weapons are definitely not anything to kind of worry about with Seattle. I think Chris Carson is actually injured. I think he did get injured here. He might be out for a couple weeks, week or two. Chris Carson. So that is definitely going to hurt them a little bit. He only rushed 5 times. I think he did get hurt. So that is definitely going to hurt them a little bit. But overall, it's Russell Wilson. They throw 3 interceptions, and they still only lose by 3 points in overtime, literally at the last second in overtime. So not going to penalize the Seahawks too much for losing. Close game against another top 10 seeded team. I mean, the Cardinals are the real deal. But the Seahawks defense definitely needs to clean it up. Once Jamal Adams gets back, it's not going to be really too much to worry about. So Seahawks are still one of the best teams in the league. Russell Wilson is not going to have one of those games again. I know it. So we move the Seahawks back from 2 to 3. All right, number 1 and number 2 now. Who is left? We got the Packers and Steelers. Who is the new number 1 team? Well, it's not the Green Bay Packers. Unfortunate. I like what I saw from Green Bay last week, definitely. Getting back on track. Aaron Rodgers, 4 touchdowns, no picks, 30-plus points. Love to see it. On the road against, I thought, a rising Houston team. They shut that down, didn't allow more than 20 points. Absolutely fantastic. So Aaron Rodgers, he had a fluke game. We see it. I wanted to see how he responded, and he responded very well. I mean, last year they went 13-3, folks. They weren't losing back-to-back games. So I had to make sure it was the same this season, not losing back-to-back games, not turning the ball over, 4 touchdowns, 300 yards. Love it, love it, love it. So Green Bay back, high up in our power rankings. I think we had them at number 6 going into this week's. We had them at number 6 going into this week. So definitely a great win here against a tough opponent in Houston. Their offense is still dangerous, and they held them to 20 points. I mean, that's truly fantastic. So Green Bay, all the red flags that they showed last week, they buttoned them up, they got them taken care of, and they're better, and they're back and better than ever. So Green Bay Packers, well done, climbing back up to number 2. All right. Let's go. Our new number 1 team, and it's the team that you aren't seeing on this list. It's the Pittsburgh Steelers, y'all. Love what they did. Didn't like that they started to crumble in the second half of that game, definitely. But overall, they won it, so we have to give them their respect. They won the head-to-head matchup. These teams were number 3 and 1 coming in, so I've got no problems moving the Steelers up to that 1 spot. You beat the number 1 team, you're the number 1 team in my opinion. So we put the Steelers at number 1. Big Ben, he hasn't been turning the ball over until the second half of the last game. Not great. He can definitely clean that up, though. I'm not worried about it. The defense, they didn't have too many takeaways, but they only allowed 7 points in the first half. See if I can get back to it real quick. 7 points in the first half. Absolutely fantastic. Bend but don't break. Big Ben gives up an interception off of a huge drive, 82 yards, 7 minutes, 37 seconds. So they give up an interception at that time. The defense just has to defend for 2 minutes and 40 seconds, and that's what they do. They don't give up the game-winning field goal. They give up the game-tying field goal attempt. The kicker just can't make it. You can't blame the Steelers defense from that. They did what they were supposed to do. Not give up the touchdown. Potentially maybe give up the game-tying field goal, which is probably the second worst case scenario. Obviously, touchdown is worst case scenario. Field goal to tie it is second worst case scenario. But hey, they give up the third worst case scenario, which is driving, but then they missed a field goal, which they did. So well done to the Steelers defense. Bend but don't break. Great in the first half. Allowed them to build that lead and kind of sit on it for the rest of the game. Still, I mean, games are going to be close, folks. I'm not penalizing teams for winning or losing close games. Steelers win a close one here. You beat the number 1 team. We'll move you up to number 1. Going from 3 to 1 is not, huge. But we got the Steelers at number 1. Last undefeated team in the league. They've been facing some good competitions these last couple weeks. So we'll see how long the Steelers can hold on to it. The reason I had the Packers over the Seahawks is just because the last outing I saw Aaron Rodgers throw 4 touchdowns, no picks, and Russell Wilson throw 3 touchdowns, 3 picks. So that's the only reason. Both these teams are very good. Any given Sunday, they could beat each other. They're very close. Still 2 of the top teams in the league, no doubt, but we'll see. What have you done for me lately? I'm not going to be bragging about, week 1, week 2 when we're at week 8. I'm not about that. What have you done for me lately? And I just saw Aaron Rodgers come off of a bad performance with a fantastic performance. So if Russell Wilson goes and does what Aaron Rodgers did from week 6 to 7, Russell Wilson does it from 7 to 8, hey, we can definitely move them back up to number 2. Alrighty, I do want to go over who are the pretenders because we did see a lot of pretenders kind of emerge this week. Eagles are definitely pretenders. Anybody in that team is nowhere near good. Who do we got? Browns are definitely pretenders. I cannot trust Baker Mayfield. They went the entire game against the Bengals, and the Bengals aren't that good. So with Odell Beckham being out, they go down from pretenders to super pretenders. Cannot buy into Baker Mayfield. It's unfortunate. It was great what he did last week. The basically only having 1 incompletion for basically the rest of the game from like the first quarter on, which is definitely very good. But overall, got to be consistent. And he hasn't shown that. So Browns are pretenders outside looking in. Texans are 100% pretenders. I thought they may have been, climbing up now that they're feeling free, but they're back and they only put up 20 points. So we're definitely off the Texans, 100% pretenders. Who else do we got? Panthers are still kind of figuring them out. Are they pretenders or not? Bills are absolutely pretenders. Josh Allen, he's only good against the good teams, or he's only good against the bad teams, and when he shows, when there's any sign of adversity, he does kind of flounder a little bit. So Bills 100% pretenders. We really can't even put them inside the top 10 for another 3 weeks until they start proving themselves on a consistent basis, and I don't see them doing that. Cowboys 100%. I mean, they were never even contenders to begin with. So to say they are pretenders is an understatement. Broncos pretenders, Patriots 100% pretenders, cannot buy them anymore. Cam Newton, he just doesn't have it. I hope he will have it at some point this season, but I don't think he will. Unfortunate. Selling the Patriots 100%, they are officially pretenders. Raiders, unfortunately, are now pretenders. I mean, you go and not even really be competitive against Tom Brady. Yeah, you put up 20, but I mean, nowhere near that performance that what we saw 2 weeks ago against the Chiefs, and then you had the bye to prepare, and then you go and put up 20 points at home and give up 45. So definitely pretenders there. I get the Bucs are tough, but I mean, if you want to be one of the best teams, you have to beat the tough teams. That's how it works. Don't care if you beat the Giants. Don't care if you beat the Jets. What have you done for me lately, and have you beat the best teams lately? Raiders are unfortunately pretenders, sitting at 3-3. Steelers and Titans are both the real deal, no doubt there. Chargers trying to become the real deal. Bears 100% pretenders, 100%. I mean, Nick Foles. I mean, if you can't score offensively, what are we doing in the league? The goal is to score more points than your opponent. They can't do that. They can hold their opponents to 24 points, but if you're not putting up more than 10 points, more than 3 points, really, you're a pretender. So, Bears, Bills, Browns, all pretenders, all outside looking in. I mean, if they have one good week, we can't even put them in because that's what pretenders do. They show up 1 week, show off 2 weeks, or not show up 1 week, not show up 2-3 weeks, show back up a week, say, hey, y'all forgot about us. Why aren't you talking about us? Put us in the top 10. We're not going to fall for it. Browns, Bills, who was the last one? Bears. The Bees. The Bees are all pretenders. If you see a team with a B, they're 100% a pretender. Browns, Bills, Bengals, all pretenders. Cannot buy them. Raiders also in there, the non-B team. So all those teams outside looking in, they probably won't be in the top 10. The only other team that's not currently in the top 10 that will potentially still be able to fight for a top 10 position going forward is the Saints. Everybody else, it's going to be the top 10 and the Saints. We can't put the Bills, we can't put the Raiders, we can't put the Browns, and we cannot put the Bears. All pretenders, not going to fall for it anymore. And that's how it is. So well done to the Steelers for getting the number 1 spot, new number 1 team. Well done to the Packers to redeem themselves. We'll see what the Seahawks can do. Seahawks, Titans. I mean, these are some good teams up here in the top. So we'll see what they do next week.